Hello again, everyone. This is Zombie Kids Rule, and I'm back with I think my third video of gameplay on the Steam Deck, and I'm gonna do Wizardry 8. So my first two videos for gameplay were Wizardry 6 and Wizardry 7, and this is the third game in the series. I mean, there's obviously games before it, but they were much different. And then there are a couple games after. But nothing really like the three in this series. I think Wizardry 8 is from, you know what, let's see, what is Wizardry 8 from, 2001? Yeah, Wizardry 8 is from 2001, again from Surtech, which I don't even think exists anymore, but it's a great game, and I will just say up front, it is not supported. It is unsupported according to Steam. Or according to Valve, and there's one reason for it, and I'll probably highlight it in this video. So, you know, when you first launch Wizardry 8, you have Play Wizardry 8 Launch 3D Setup, which I don't think I had to do it on the Steam Deck. I used to have to do it on my other computers. There's a Configure N-Glide, which again I don't think I had to do on the Steam Deck. So, you know, nice thing about the Steam Deck is on these games it does pop up, and it does kind of tell you initially, you know, what controllers to expect. You know, I should say what control to expect. And this one is about the you know, the trackpad again, and the right trigger, and I think the left trigger. You know, it uses both of those. So this is a big step up from Wizardry 6 and 7. It is the I guess the sound, the graphics are huge improvement over Wizardry 6 and 7. Lot more options to pick from. So again, you get here to the beginning screen, and you know, you use the trackpad and the right trigger to select. I'll go ahead and turn the sound down. It does have sound throughout the game. Much more than the first two games, and you do have a bunch of options that you can pick from, and you probably won't be able to see these very well, but right off the bat, in general, you have combat speed, you have text display speed, monster movement speed, so you can actually speed up how fast they move. You have difficulty level, novice, normal, expert. You have combat mode. This is kind of cool. So you have phased, which is blatantly turn-based. It's just basic turn-based like the other ones. But then there's continuous combat mode, which basically what that does is you tell the party members what to do, and when you select continuous, it just keeps doing the combat, you know, round after round after round until you interrupt it, and then you can pause it and change the commands that you've given to your different party members, and then turn it back on again, and it'll just play. You know, it'll go through the combat. So that's kind of a cool thing. I've played this game for hundreds and hundreds of hours, almost never used that continuous option, simply because of the way I like to play. But then there are a couple instances where I experimented with it, and it's really cool. There is camera auto rotation. You can snap, pan, or off. Then let's see. There's you know, there's something about mouse look. Let's see. Stop movement for game events, auto target single spells, auto advance, auto swap, weapons, auto save, tooltip delays, simplified NPC interactions, verbose combat messages. That means it goes into detail about where you hit the creatures and stuff. There's right click for info, pop-up skill increase messages, show hit points numerically, auto scroll combat messages. So just under the general settings, there's a bunch of options. And then under audio, there's less. There's music volume, sound effects volume, footstep volume, speech volume, player character configurations, and then playable character subtitles. Let's see. Then under video, there's like two things. You can do gamma brightness, video sync, smooth monster animations, smooth world animations, high texture detail, monster shadows, additional animations, correct for blurred text, mesh sky, dither, MIP mapping, high texture cache, missile lights. So there's a bunch of and this game, they had all these options because, they, by turning some of these off, it would play better on lower end machines. Of course, now it doesn't really matter. Then you have, of course, your keyboard options. There's 5 of those, which the Steam Deck doesn't have to use. And then, load, quit, and back. So we're going to go ahead and go back. So there's a lot of options to set on this game. Most of them don't matter too much anymore. There's some creature comfort things. So I'm going to go ahead and let's see. I'm going to start a new game. And this does character creation, just like the previous Wizardry 6 and 7. It's a little bit different, which is actually, I like this character creation better. You can create characters, so they have stock characters that you can start with. They have create character. They have add to party. So again, you have to add the characters that you want to a party. You can play with just one character. You can do a solo run if you want to. You can delete characters. You can review characters. You can import from Wizardry 7 to 8. So there's an option down here that's 7 to 8. It's an import. And then you can just back up. Now, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'll show a character creation just like before on the other two. They use the same stats for the most part, but they do have a different system, I guess, if you want to call it that, as far as the way the numbers work. So I'm going to create a character. First things you get to do is you get to select from your professions, and you can open up a full pull-down list, and it's Fighter, Lord, Valkyrie, Ranger, Samurai, Ninja, Monk, Rogue, Gadgeteer, which actually I think Gadgeteer is new to this game, I think. I'm not sure if it was in Wizardry 6 and 7. Bard, Priest, Alchemist, Bishop, Psionic, and Mage. And so you can select any of those classes in Wizardry 8 to begin with. You don't have to get a certain role first to do that. So that's kind of cool. That was a nice, I guess, change. And then for the races, it's the same as the previous games: human, elf, dwarf, gnome, hobbit, fairy, lizard man, draken, felper, raw wolf, and the mook. And then after that, of course, you have the gender, male and female. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick. You know what? Let's just pick the ninja. And then for a race, we'll just pick. Let's see, pick a hobbit ninja. And then male or female doesn't really matter in this game. The only difference, I believe, actually, let me double check that. I can't specifically remember. I'd have to check the manual if there's different base settings for attributes for male or female. But I do remember that there's a few items in the game that are only usable by a particular gender, usually female, I think. So there's a couple items that can only be used by female characters. And then there is, I believe it's in this game, there's one event that you basically have to have a male character for the event to unfold. But if you don't, the game still progresses. But there is just one event that is linked to having a male character. Now, once you select your race, your profession or your class, your race, and your gender, then based on that, it will tell you how many bonus points you have, and you can put up to a certain amount in any given attribute. And you have strength, intelligence, piety, vitality, dexterity, speed, and senses. And what this game does is you have a pool of points for your attributes, and as a standard, and what it does is it says, okay, you want to be this class and you want to be this race, and I have to put a certain number of points in different attributes to meet those criteria, and then whatever's left over you get to put however you want. Sometimes there's no points left over, and you'd actually be in the negatives, and your character essentially wouldn't be able to allocate anything as you level up until you made up for the deficit. So it's possible you can create a character. Let's see if I can remember how to do one. So let's say a bishop and a lizard man, because lizard man has terrible intelligence base. And yeah, so right off the bat, I have no bonus points to add, and I'm actually 40 bonus points in the hole. So I actually have negative 40 bonus points. So that means that I would have to level up my character. If I remember correctly, I think you get 15 points. I think you get 15 points to distribute every level up. So you'd have to level up enough times to offset that, or maybe it's 6. I don't know. I'll have to look at that. But anyway, you basically have to level up enough times to recover the negative bonus point deficit before you can start putting points where you want them when you level up. So again, I'll just go back to something that doesn't have a negative. But you can actually have a negative thing. So the game lets you create the character you want. It just might be a little bit of a deficit in the beginning. So then, again, with this one, you can increase attributes by 1 by clicking the right trigger, or you can increase them by 5 by selecting the left trigger. And so again, you can increase it by 1 or you can increase it by 5. And again, this is one of those games where it usually benefits you to look at the manual ahead of time, so you'll actually know what does what. But again, you can increase by 1 point or 5 at a time. You have hit points, stamina, spell points for what you can cast, armor class, and then carrying capacity. And then it lists your abilities and traits, which are usually based on your profession or your class or your race. It will list profession skills, like the ninja has critical strike, and then it has some other things that are the skills specifically for that profession. But like the ninja has thrown auto penetrate and thrown criticals and things like that. Then you have resistant modifiers and just that information. And the nice thing about this game is if you go hover over anything, you can use the left mouse button and it will pull up a description of it. And so it doesn't do it with everything, but an awful lot of stuff you can use the left mouse. I'm sorry, the left trigger. Sorry, the left trigger, and you can learn more about it, like hit points and spell points and all your attributes and that sort of thing. So that's kind of cool. And so once you do that, you progress forward, and then you have all your skills on one screen. And they are, they're not really broken up by categories. You get 15 bonus points to distribute every time you level up. You can put a maximum of 5 in any given skill, and depending on the class, you might have some different ones. So a ninja, pretty much everyone has like close combat, range combat, dual weapons. Not everyone has critical strike. Artifacts, mythology, communication, and then pretty much everyone has sword, polearm, mason flail, dagger, staff and wand, bow, throwing slings. Not everybody has martial arts, and actually maybe a few classes don't have all of those weapon options. And then some classes have locks and trap, stealth, pickpocket. Those would be your thieving, like rogue, bard, ninja, that sort of thing. And then over here is where you normally have your spell stuff. So there's 4 spell school. There's 4 magic schools, if you will, 4 different types of magic, and then there's 6 elemental areas. So those get filled in based on your selections there. And the majority of professions in this game can cast spells. The straight magic users like alchemists, mages, priests, psionics, they start with the ability to cast spells. And then the hybrid classes like Lord, Valkyrie, Ranger, Ninja, Ninja, Monk. I'm probably forgetting some, but basically those are hybrid classes, and they get to cast spells at level 5. And then Bishop is another magic class that can basically learn all 4 schools of magic. And then you have a few like the fighter and the rogue that never learn spells. They're not like a hybrid character. So you go ahead and you can increase by 1 and 5 at a time, and you just decide, what's going to be good for you. Each class starts off with points in a certain thing. So, like for instance, my ninja starts off with 7 in martial arts, 6 in throwing and sling, 6 in critical strikes, 6 in close combat, 6 in stealth, and then the rest are all at 0. And so you have to increase those. You have to decide, what you're going to increase for what. And in this game, the thing I love about this game, I absolutely love about this game, is that you increase your skills as you use them. So by using your skills in combat and outside of combat, you are increasing your skills as you go. In the beginning, they increase much, much faster than later on in the game. And then you also can manually increase your skills at level up with these bonus points. You get 15 per level. And then once a skill hits 75, if I remember right, 75, you can't manually increase it anymore. You can only increase it by use. So you do that, and you move forward, and then you basically have the portraits. There's a bunch more portraits. You can do them by race. So they have a bunch of different portraits by race. And so, like for instance, there's fairy, and then you can go through a variety of fairies. So there is a lot more portraits than the previous 2 games, and the graphics are much, much, much better than the previous game. Now the cool thing about this one is, and I'll actually turn this up, is that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 9 personalities for voice, and each one of them have 2 different sounds. So there's voice 1 and voice 2. And you can pick. There's aggressive, chaotic, kindly, intellectual, cunning, laid back, burly, eccentric, loner. And then there's voice 1 and voice 2. And so you can listen to them, see what you like, and then this is the voice that is used for your characters during the game when they randomly say stuff. And they will randomly say stuff. It's pretty cool. So let's go with a ninja. This is a ninja, so we're going to go with chaotic. Let's see. Chaotic. And then voice 2.
Ordinary men fear the power of darkness. I revel in it.
And then voice 1, which is also chaotic, is this one.
What do you want? If it walks, I can change that.
And so they're actually pretty cool. And like I said, you just pick the type of personality that you want. And they all have different phrases, different sayings that they say at different times. So I actually think this is cool, and it does liven it up a little bit during gameplay. And so you can again 9 different personality type voices with 2 voices in each personality type to pick from. So each one of your characters can have a different personality, different voice. Now here's where the problem starts with this game. This is why it is unsupported. When you are creating a character, you have to insert a name and you have to insert a nickname. If you don't, you can't finish the character. And there's no option to just have a randomly generated name. So on the Steam Deck, you should be able to click Steam and X. Here's the problem. I'm going to go ahead and do it. And it worked this time. Awesome. Okay, it doesn't always work. So I'm just going to go ahead and enter something simple. And I'm going to go, we're going to call this one Shinobi, because that's another name, another term that's used for ninjas. But let's say Shinobi. And then I say enter. Now, my keyboard went away. I'm okay. Now, I still can't create the character because I have to do a nickname. So now I'm in the nickname field. What's been happening in the past when I tried this is the on-screen keyboard won't open properly on the nickname field. So we're going to try it again. Oh, and see, it worked this time. It hasn't been working. So I'm going to go ahead and re-enter Shinobi. Or you can actually make it a smaller name. I could actually name them Ninja. And it's the nickname that, see, as soon as I put one letter in there, it will allow me to create the character. And the nickname is what actually appears as the name. So I'm going to go ahead and press enter again. Now I can save this. I can actually save this character and proceed. So I'm trying to see if I can replicate what normally happens. Yeah, there we go. I press Steam and X and it doesn't work. I do it again, see, and it works this time. What has been happening is, which is why I think it's unsupported because it's inconsistent. I'll do the Steam X button, and instead of pulling up the keyboard, it will basically minimize the game, and the game will get minimized, or the game will kind of go away, and you'll get this. You'll get what you would when you press Steam by itself. You get this option, and then you have to go. You have to go back to the game from there. So that's what has been happening, which is why I say you might not be able to make your party on the Steam Deck. What you might have to do is make your party on another computer, and then or maybe connect a wireless keyboard or something. Who knows? And then once your party's created, you should be fine. It should work fine on the Steam Deck. But the Steam X button does not work consistently from my past trials. It's working nice today, which is odd. But so I'm going to go ahead and undo this because I don't really want to keep this character. Yes, discard changes. Okay, so that's how you create a character. And again, this game has a lot more options. Now the other thing I've had a problem with is I'll go ahead and try it, but I got a feeling it's going to cause a problem. I'm going to try to use the pre-generated characters. So I'm going to add a samurai, and I'm going to add a monk, and then I'm going to take. I don't care. I'll take the Lord. In this game, I always take a bard. I always take a gadgeteer because they have equipment that only a bard can use, and there's equipment that only a gadgeteer can use. I always take a ranger because rangers can automatically search. So I always take a ranger, and let's see, and then I always take a bishop. But again, this all comes to your personal choices. I like bishops because they can learn basically every single spell in the game. They can learn all. They can learn all spells in the game. All spell schools, all spells. Now, in theory, I should be able to start the game from here. And what's been happening is that sometimes it hasn't been starting. And again, that could be why it's unsupported. I don't know if maybe if you make all your characters yourself, it works fine. But I'm just going to go ahead and try it, see what happens. I get to set my difficulty level, simplified NPC interactions. These can be changed. Iron Man cannot. Iron Man is an option where you have to read about it, but basically Iron Man. Oh, it's right on the screen itself. Iron Man is recommended for RPG experts desiring an extreme challenge. It prevents you from saving or loading your game except when exiting. So basically, you can't fix your mistakes. You can't just save scum. You can't just reload if you make a mistake. And the only real problem with that is that when I was playing this game on any other device, there are a couple spots where you can your whole party can get wiped out from just a simple mistake. I mean, it's instant death. And so if you screw up in like 2 spots of the game, your whole party will be destroyed and you'll lose. Game over. Now, if you're playing Iron Man mode, that means you got to start all over again because you don't have a save to go back to. If you're playing regular, it's not a big deal. Or if you're playing Iron Man mode and there's a glitch, your game crashes for some reason. Game is pretty stable. I've put in over 1,000 hours on this game. Pretty stable. But it does occasionally happen. You have a game crash. And if you're playing Iron Man, your game's probably gone. So Iron Man is not for the faint of heart. I'm going to go ahead and try to start this and see what happens. And this one is working fine. So there's an entry. There's a beginning thing that basically tells you crash land on this planet. And then once you land, here you are. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this up a bit because they're going to...
We are stranded here with no idea of how to get home. Well, look at it this way. It will be quite a challenge.
Okay, so they will talk to you randomly. And then you can check out your characters by left clicking on them, and then you get to see not only all their stats, but this is the party items over here. So this is communal. Everybody is carrying these, and you can carry an infinite number of items just until you get over, till you get too much carrying capacity and you can't move. You can left click on any item and it'll pull it up and it'll tell you which class can use it, or which profession, and which race can use it, because some of them are limited by class and some of them are limited by race. And it tells you about the item. There's a lot of I shouldn't say a lot. There's some cursed items in this game. So there are cursed things. It'll give you what it does, like armor class or things like that. If I click on my weapon, it'll actually tell me how much damage it does. This katana does 2 to 7, plus 1 to hit, plus 2 for initiative. Says what type of weapon, primary, secondary, whether it's cursed, attack range, the skill that's needed, and the attack mode. So it does give you all that information on items as well. And then you can also see your spells, if you have any, and your resistances up in the corner. You can see all your skills that you have associated, and you can see your primary attributes. You can see your abilities and traits, and you can see current personal effects. These are things that might be added by items that you have. And then you see a bunch of stats like what do I do with my primary and my secondary weapons. It says what is it, bonuses to initiative, damage range, attack rating, number of attacks, maximum swings per round, anything to hit, to penetrate, to damage. You have a kill tracker and you have a death tracker, how many times your party's died or your characters died. And then initiative, what's your current initiative. And so you have that, and you can actually then go into another screen, armor class modifiers. And it says all the modifiers to your armor class, like race, speed, stealth, shield, magic items, magic spells, your versus penetration, encumbrance, conditions, fatigue, defense actions, your damage absorption. So that's all stats that you can have. And then there's a variety of other things that you can look at. And then once you're in the game, you can also change your character's name if you want to. And then you can also change their profession. You can actually, when you hover over this, and it says levels learned by profession. So you can actually change professions at level up if you want to. But this game behaves differently than Wizardry 6 and 7. It's not as beneficial to change professions as the other two games. So you can look at any character that way, and of course you can just look at you can just scroll through them to take a look at them. They're already equipped when you start the game, so you don't have to do that like you do in Wizardry 6 and 7. You have your map down here. It's an auto map, and yellow creatures are non-hostile, but they will turn hostile if you get close to them. Red creatures are enemies, and then white things are items that you can find on the ground. Then your party formation. This is what's substantively different. So you have these different areas of your formation grid. So you can have up to 3 party members in each grid, and you can basically click on them and drag them and move them from. Okay, and so you could basically put them wherever you want as a formation. But of course, if you're facing, so they talk to you when you whenever you tell them to do something. You can turn that off. You can turn command things off. And then who's my bishop? My bishop probably wants to be in the middle. There we go. So protect my bishop because they're the weakest. So you can move your formations around to different options, which is actually really cool. I'm a big fan of that. You have this down here where you can enter combat. You can pull up your spells if you want to cast spells outside of combat, because sometimes there's protection things you can cast and they stay on. You have a use, equip. You have the search option, which this one you just turn search on and it stays on, but it slows you down and it takes stamina. If you have a ranger, they automatically search, so you don't need to use that. Your campfire gives you sleeping options, so you sleep to regain things like hit points and stamina and magic or mana. You have your journal, so you can read about what's going on. You can see about your alliances, because you have the possibility of getting alliances with like the Mook, the Impani, and the Terang. You have you can look at different settings, which again, or you can save. And then the way you move is you can move. Whoops, I'm sorry. Those are so the left joystick again will do random things. If I push up, it swaps the character's weapons that I'm on. If I pull down, it turns the search mode on and off. And then how you move is with the D-pad. So you move the D-pad, and you can turn and look, and you can move forward and you can move backwards. And if you if you press diagonally, you'll move in different ways. So then when you get over here, you actually, in this game, your icon turns to a hand, which allows you to right trigger, and you open up treasure, and you can scroll down and see everything that you found, and you can either take things singularly and give them to different people, or you can just select them all and take them all, and they go into your parties pool. So it shows up over here, and this is in the parties bag, and then you can individually give it to any character you want to. You can pool, you have your gold is pooled and everything like that. If there's a question mark on something, that means it's not identified, and you have to identify it by either having a character with artifacts try to identify it. It will automatically do that, or there's spells, or you can have somebody else do it. And so, whoops, I keep wanting to use that joystick. And this is all native, so this is without actually doing any controller configuration, right? Now, I know there's a...
I see something.
Yeah, I know you see something. So some stuff you can't... some stuff you don't see on the map until you get right on top of it, and then it appears. And then other stuff you can see on the map, and you know it's there. You can actually visibly see it. So now there's these crabs. They're coming up. They're going to come up to attack me. And what I can do is I can give my party commands. So when I click on their the little square here that shows their weapon, it pulls up you can't see it, but it pulls up a grid with like 9 choices. And so one is equip, so you can change equipment. One is protect, so you can try to protect another character. One is defend. One is just blatantly attack. One is use. X is to cancel. And then, or actually, I'm sorry, there's 12. There's 12 options here. 12 things. Or maybe not quite. Berserk for some people. Breath for some people, like a dragon. Use last item. Cast spell. Cast last spell, so it makes it quicker. Pray for like priests and stuff. Turn undead for certain creatures certain classes can turn undead. So you have a variety of options, and what you basically do is you select what you want them to do. If it's in red, that means they can't reach. Right, the crabs are too far away, and I might not even be oriented in the right direction. My monk has a sling, so he's ready to go. My gadgeteer has a ranged gun, so they're ready to go. My ranger has a ranged bow, they're ready to go. And my bishop, I can have them cast a spell. And this one came pre-set up with sleep and heal wounds, so I wouldn't pick that when I made my own bishop. And then with this game, when you go to cast a spell, if you're guaranteed to cast it down here in this little area, it will be green. It'll be solid green. That means you're not going to have any problem casting it. This is actually kind of yellowish. Yellowish means you could fizzle, you could fail. Red means you're probably going to fail. You can try it, but you're probably going to fail it. and this is based on the power level. So there's all these different power levels, 3, 6, 7, 8 power levels. And so this one's yellow, which means there's a possibility he's going to fail on this until he gets stronger. And then you have to pick who you're going to cast it on. And again, sometimes there's more than one group of monsters, just like the other games. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually select walk or party move, because I want the crabs to come closer to me before I attack. I don't want to waste my round. So I'm going to click party move, and then I have a choice between walk and run. I'm going to pick walk, which when it's my turn will allow me to actually move if I want to. So I'm going to click walk. It says walk pending, and then I'm going to go ahead and start the round, which means either I get a chance to walk first, or the monsters come and they come up close to me so I can attack them. So here they come. So now they're coming close to me, and now my weapons swapped. My weapons were like, oh, they're closer to you. Okay, so now I'm facing this way. I want to kind of circle. I want to get to the middle so that I'm oriented straight on, and then I'm going to stop moving, and that will allow me to then start attacking. All right, so now the crab's asleep, and you can hear that the characters all say something when they attack. And now, if I want to, I can just attack again, because I can just have them redo their attacks. I don't have to change it all the time. I can just have them redo their attacks, which is fine. The crab's asleep, so I'm going to kill this crab really fast. Here we go. Boom, he's dead. Okay, so each survivor earned 111 experience points, and then if we had gained something, like if any of them had increased a skill based on the combat, then it would have shown a message about that too. Alright, so now again I'm just walking around. There's something white down here. I can see something white on the ground, which means I know something's there. Oh, there's some stones, and if I click now on this one, I'm going to give it actually to my samurai, which is fine. And then you see here, it says Sprocket's artifacts increased to 1, and then Telane's artifact skill increased to 10. So just by picking up those stones, it had them identify it using artifacts, and their skills increased. So that's the cool thing about this game that I love. Outside of combat, your skills can increase. Inside combat, your skills can increase. And then at level up, your skills can increase. Now, there are some other options like this. I can take away my little mini map thing where down on the left-hand corner. I can highlight this middle portion, or I can make it transparent, whichever's easier for me to read, right? And then I can take away my party formation on the lower right-hand side if I want to, or I can have it visible. So I can actually get rid of those. It all depends on what I want to do. And then up here in the left-hand corner, there are also options, upper right-hand corner. So I can essentially make it full screen. So I got rid of those things at the bottom. I can do the wide screen where it's got those two things. And then I can do this where my characters are expanded all the time instead of being collapsed, so I can see their faces all the time and stuff. I can see their weapons that they're using, or again I can make it so that they're just small, and I have to open it to see which weapons do they have. And if I click on their weapons, it swaps between two weapon sets, because when you go into your character, you have two boxes for each hand. And one set of boxes is your primary, or is one weapon set, and then the other two set of boxes are your other weapon set. So you can actually do, for instance, I can actually put, so I right click, and then move it, and then I right click again to drop it. And so I right click, move it, and then drop it. And you can merge items up to a certain number. and that sort of thing. And you do actually have to equip arrows. So in this game, you have to have arrows to use. If you don't have arrows, then you can't attack with like a bow. You have to have stones to use a sling, or you can throw darts or things. So you can basically have 2 weapon sets. So like my monk has shuriken, throwing stars, for one, and then they have a bow staff for the other. So I can just swap back and forth. And the game will actually automatically swap it if you have it set that way, so that when monsters are too far away, you do your ranged, and when they get close, you do your close. And then that's pretty much it. So you can walk around, look around, and this game is pretty big. It's a pretty massive game, and everything seems to work fine. The only problem I have had so far is that Steam X pulling up the keyboard, and it doesn't always work. So that could cause problems with the naming of characters. And then occasionally I've had problems trying to start a game. Now what I can do though is I can go in here, and I have never had a problem loading a game, ever. So I guess a solution would be, if you tried this game and it wasn't working properly on the Steam Deck, you could go onto another computer, make your party that you wanted, start the game, save it, and then you can just load it. And I have never had a problem loading a game, ever. And so I'm going to go ahead and show you the
New associates of our empire. I am sent. Seems sent.
So you can click through dialogue, and then what you do is you have a whole bunch of choices here, and as you talk to people, it fills in topics. Now in theory, I think this might be the other problem. Down here at the bottom, there's where is, there's talk about, there's ways to sort through the different keywords. Normally what I do is I just double click, and that's what they talk about. Okay, that's what I normally do in the game. I believe in theory you're supposed to be able, actually I know you can, I just highlighted the word down here. I'm supposed to be able to type something in here. So even though there's no keyword, I should be able to type anything I want to see if the game will recognize it. That's a feature from Wizardry 6 and 7, I believe. And if I type in something that they don't know what it is, they'll just say, I don't know anything about that. So now in this here, I should be able to do the Steam X button. And it worked, which it wasn't working yesterday, which is really, really bizarre. So again, you can data enter here with conversation, or you don't have to, because you could always just double click, and it will talk about whatever you clicked on this menu. Then when you're in with an NPC, you can trade. Some of them will buy or sell. You can cast magic, so you can actually try to influence them with your magic. You can attack them, which don't recommend doing, but you can. You can try to pickpocket them. So when you click pickpocket, you'll get to pick the character who does it. So you'd pick your person with the best pickpocketing skills. And if you manage to pickpocket them, then you'll get an item. I'm gonna go ahead and try to undo that. Can I undo that? I really hope I can. Yeah, there we go. So I left triggered, and that undid that. Because if you try to pickpocket them and they catch you, they either get mad at you and they lower their favoritism or whatever, however you call it, however they view you, or they will attack you. And if they attack you and you kill the NPC, that could have problems in the game. You can try to recruit them. So some NPCs will join your party because you have 2 extra party slots. You can have up to 8. So you can have 2 NPCs join you in your party of 6. And then of course you can just leave. And then up here, yep, we will meet again. So you walk away. You notice here all my communication increased. So that was a skill increase just from talking to this person. And again, your characters will randomly just say stuff as you're playing the game. And then up here in the corner, this is what I was mentioning about the protection spells. So for instance, I have armor plate, I have enchanted blade, I have light, I have that should be magic screen, I have Missile Shield. There's also Detect Secrets. There's Chameleon. So there's a few different things you can cast, and they just stay effective until they run out. And like for instance, this one, Missile Shield, I cast it at power level 2, and so it's got 32 turns remaining, and it'll just keep ticking down as the game plays, and it offers a little bit of protection. And if I go into my character, then when I go to the screen where it shows their combat and weapon modifiers, and then their armor class modifiers, I can actually see that stealth is giving me a +10. My magic items are giving me a +4, and then should have done something else, but that's okay. This person's killed 443 monsters and got damage absorption of 11%. They've never died. Anyway, so it's got that sort of thing, and that's essentially how you play. And so essentially, it's the right trackpad to move most. You do the right trigger to confirm. When a character gets close to you, you see lips, and you just click the right trigger, and it starts talking. The left trigger is where you can activate, like when I'm on my character over here, if I right-click, it expands them, but if I right-click again, it doesn't do anything. I have to right trigger, left trigger, and that will open that up. So you do use the left trigger sometimes. You use the right trigger a lot, and the trackpad and Steam X to open the keyboard if it's working properly. And then this little like cross-looking thing over here, that means there's this character can level up. And when I open it up, then I get the chance. I have a total of 6 points to change my attributes. I can put a maximum of 3 points in any given attribute. I can also change my profession. So this person's a bard right now, and when I select this, it'll show me all the professions, and if it's grayed out, that means I don't have the necessary attributes to change into that profession. So this bard can't switch to a priest, but they can switch to every other classification that they want. Okay, so I can actually change professions when I'm leveling up. I increase my stats, and then at the next screen, I'll get a chance to increase my skills. And then if I'm a spellcaster, it'll let me increase my like I can pick spells. Okay, and then the last thing I'll show you is that in this game, for instance, I always take a gadgeteer, and that's because the gadgeteer makes gadgets, and so they have a variety of gadgets that they can use, and they essentially function like spells. This lightning rod is energy blast. This holograph projector is like guardian angel. Jack in the Box is like terror. So the gadgeteer, these are things that only a gadgeteer can use. So they put items together in the game, or they put like different items together in the game to make a usable gadget. And then the bard, where's my bard? My bard has musical instruments, and they're the only ones that can use the musical instruments in the game. And they again cast spells. So so instead of casting a spell, the bard plays a musical instrument, and it casts the equivalent of a spell. And the interesting thing about them is that the spells aren't limited to a specific school. So their musical instruments and their gadgets, they have a wide variety of useful spells from the 4 different magic schools. And then the bard also has some items that can only be used by a bard, like Caliban's Cuirass can only be worn by a bard. So when you open it up, just the bard can wear it. That's it. Now every race can wear it. Every race can wear it except a fairy. So a fairy bard is going to be restricted from using certain bard equipment. So which is why you kind of have to choose, wisely on some of your combinations. Again, so gadgeteers have special equipment only they can use. Bards have special equipment only they can use. And then, other than that, there's a few items by race or something, like elves. I think there's something for an elf. There's something for gender. And that's pretty much it. So I consider this game to be, I'm going to go ahead and quit. I consider this game to be playable. if it wasn't for the I'm going to go ahead and if it wasn't for the keyboard acting sporadically, and if it wasn't for the problems that I've had occasionally with picking a party and then starting the game, this would probably be either playable or verified. But I have experienced problems where I do the Steam X and the keyboard just, instead of opening, the keyboard takes me to the option like the Steam button does, and I have to get out of it, and it just won't work. Or I've tried to launch a game with a party that I've selected, and it won't launch. It crashes essentially. So there are a couple problems, and the solution to those, if you really wanted to play this game on the Steam Deck, is to create your party on a different computer, start a game, add them to the party, add them, for your party, start a game, save it immediately, and then after that you should be able to load that save on your Steam Deck and have zero problems. So that would be the workaround if you really, really, really wanted to play this game. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put that to sleep, and that's Wizardry 8. One of probably my favorite. Yeah, I would probably say it's probably my favorite game of all time. I love the versatility of it. I love the different classes. I love the different options you have, and I love the fact I love games where you can increase your skills by usage, and because that sets up a lot of options available to you. Well, anyway, I hope this was helpful. If you kind of liked what you see, if you've never played Wizardry 8 and you kind of liked what you saw there, give it a try. Again, it's an old school game though, 2001. So there's things that are, I guess, that modern gamers would expect that you're probably not going to get in that. So it's not for everyone, but maybe give it a chance. You might actually love it. And again, you can start from Wizardry 6, which is hardcore, and it would take you a long time. It would probably take you weeks or months to play through Wizardry 6, 7, and 8. I know it would take me months and months and months to do it, and carry a party all the way through from 6 through 8. Anyway, hopefully this helps people. If these videos are helpful to you at all, please like, subscribe, get notifications, leave comments. Let me know what you think. If I did make a mistake, occasionally I'll see a video where I've missaid something and I catch it and I'll be like, oh, you know what, that's not 100% right. Feel free to drop a comment. If I make a mistake, I'll admit it. But anyway, this is not the greatest way to do these videos, but it's the only way I can do it right now. If I find a better way, I'll start doing it. And again, hopefully this is helpful to some folks, and I will try to get some more of these up. So thank you very much, folks, and have an awesome day. I'll see you later.